All right. For the math program here at Sisseton-Wapton College, you will be using what's called the Aleks program. To get to the Aleks program, you just have to go anywhere on the internet, www.aleks.com. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your tablet, of course you can do it on your desktop or your laptop. Anywhere you have a web browser and internet access, you can access the Aleks program at www.aleks.com. So, when you first log in, we're just going to go through these screens. It tells you Aleks is a personalized way to learn at your own pace. Figures out the topics you already know, and then it helps you take the right path to success. You are going to do periodic assessments. You're going to learn some topics. You'll take another assessment to see what you know. If you miss any of the topics on that assessment, it's going to put it back on your Aleks pie chart so you can practice it some more. And back and forth you go until hopefully you learn the material. If you're in Foundations of Math, it's pretty important that you try to memorize as much of this stuff as possible, because you're going to need to know it to do, of course, introductory algebra, intermediate algebra, and college algebra. So the more you can memorize, the better off you are. Up here at the top is your main menu. Anytime you see that 3 bars, you're going to see the main menu. It's not going to let me click on it yet. I'm just going to have to hit next up here on the top. Up here, the bell is your notifications. If you have an email that's sent to your Aleks account, for example, if Jane, who will be the normal instructor, sends you an email, or if I send you an email, my name's Linda, the notifications will show up here. If you have an assessment scheduled, or if there's an assessment you're supposed to take, it'll pop up right there. Again, I'm just going to hit next. Normally, this bluish, greenish area here, teal maybe I'll call it, is what you should be working on. When you log in, you'll look in that section, it'll tell you work or continue your path or work ahead or something like that, or take an assessment. Right now, it wants you to do the tutorial. So, this is the section where it suggests you what to do next. We're going to hit the next button right here, and then we're going to click Get Started. On here, on the Aleks program, you are going to do all your work paper pencil. So you're going to want to have a notebook to keep track of everything. You're going to work your work out paper pencil, put your answers in on Aleks. It's going to check and immediately let you know if you did the problem right or not. If not, it'll give you the choice to look at an explanation, or of course you can always ask me, Jane, one of the tutors, to get help with the problem. So we're just going to go through this tutorial. First thing it says is on the keyboard, type 14. So on your keyboard, on the right hand side, you have your numbers. Make sure the number lock is pressed. If not, you'll want to make sure the number lock is on, or you could use the top row of your keyboard, but you're just going to type 14. So I'm going to type in 14. It tells me, yeah, correct, I typed 14 in right. Man, I'm good. Now, just so you know how these other buttons work, the X here is the clear button. So if I hit the X button, it's going to take my 14 out of there and totally clear it. So I'm going to do that. The back arrow is the undo button. So it'll undo your last action. So since I just cleared the 14, when I hit the undo, it puts the 14 back in there. So the X is the clear, the back arrow is the undo. Now down on the bottom, it says, great job, we're going to continue with that tutorial. You're going to click the next down on the bottom. Now they're going to tell you how to enter a fraction. There are a couple different ways to get a fraction in there. One of them is to use this button over here, which looks like a fraction. You can either hit that button first, which I'm going to do right away. It puts the whole fraction in there, and you can put the numerator in there separately from the denominator. I'm going to hit the X. I can also just start by putting the numerator in there first. I can type in the 2, then hit the fraction button, and then I just have to put the denominator in there to get my fraction 2/3. Again, I'm going to hit the X to clear that out. The other way to do the fraction is to use the slash on your keyboard. It's right above the number 8 on the number pad on that right side. So it's right next to number lock. The slash is the division key, the asterisk is the multiplication. So without having to go up here and click on this shortcut here, I can just type in 2/3 and I get my fraction 2/3. And to me, that's a little quicker and easier than having to go up and hit that fraction button. So 3 different ways to get the fraction in. Type the numerator, hit the fraction icon, put the denominator in. You can hit the fraction icon right away and do the top and the bottom, the numerator and the denominator separately, or you can use the slash key on your keyboard. We're now going to enter a mixed number. When you're going to do a mixed number, same kind of thing. You can type the whole number that's in front first, or you can click this first over here telling it you want to do a mixed number. No shortcut on the keyboard for a mixed number, but here they're going to have you type the 3 first, the whole number that's in front, then hit the mixed number icon so that you can finish typing in your fraction. So we're going to type 6. You can either click in the blue box or you can use the arrow down key on your keyboard where you have the 4 directions of the arrows between the number lock and the typing section. You can arrow down. So either click with your mouse or arrow down and type a 7 in there. Again, I'm going to clear that out. So I hit 3, I hit the mixed number, I hit my down arrow, oh whoops, I have to put my 6 in there first. I hit my down arrow, or I click in the blue box, type my 7, and there's my mixed number 3 and 6/7. They do have an Aleks Calculator. Now you probably got a calculator from your bookstore, and the calculator from the bookstore has a whole lot of extra things that the Aleks Calculator does not have, like a fraction button. My suggestion, because you really do need to learn how to do things paper pencil so you understand the algebra when you get to the algebra, is when you get to the section on working with fractions, do your work step by step paper pencil. Then if you want to, use your fraction calculator to check it. But otherwise, the suggestion on Aleks when you are doing an assessment or whatever is if that calculator is not active, you're not using your calculator. You're doing things paper pencil. Now, no one's going to stand behind you. You are college students and responsible for your own learning. Nobody's going to stand behind you and yell at you if you grab your calculator and use it when you shouldn't be using it. But this is where it comes in for you being an active learner, a responsible learner. That calculator is not active. You should be working things out paper pencil. So we're going to go to the Aleks Calculator. And again, when it says use the keyboard, you can use the keyboard on your computer or you can click down here. So I could go 3, 1 and click down there. I'm going to undo it just for fun. Or on my keyboard for my computer on the number pad, I can type in 3, 1, and so either way will get you there. Addition button, you can do the plus sign there, or again, you can do the plus sign on your number pad, which is right above the enter. So I'm going to hit the plus there, and then I'm going to type the 9. Again, easier for me just to type it on my keyboard. And then the equals is the enter. So if you don't want to have to click the equal down here, you can just hit the enter button, and there's your answer. So works like a normal calculator. Here's your square root. So if I clear that out, I can do this square root of 25, hit equals, and it gives me my square root. Here is my clear again. Also, here is your exponent. If I needed to do 2 to the 5th power, I would put 2. I'd hit x to the y and put the 5 in there. 2 to the 5th means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. If I hit equals, it figures that out for me, 32. So again, there's my clear. If I would want to put something back in, there is a recall button. Whoops, that's not letting me do it. I got to do the undo button. But just basic calculator functions on here, because I do want you to do most of your math paper pencil. You are at the beginning learning stages of stuff that you did probably in grade school and in middle school, and you shouldn't need to use your calculator to do these things. And that's the end of the tutorial. So I'm going to have you hit continue there. And they're going to say that you're going to take an initial knowledge check. But because I want to be able to go over the Aleks options with you, I am going to have you say I don't know on all of the things on your initial knowledge check. So I'm going to click Start Knowledge Check. Normally when you take your knowledge check, it's going to tell you to stay focused, not to get distracted, have paper and pencil available, not to get help from others, and then they're going to tell you what you've learned and what you need to learn. Take your time, try your best. However, on this first one, we're just going to say I don't know on everything, and we will take a knowledge check the next class period. That will really be your initial knowledge check, but that way I can go over the Aleks program and how it works. And so I'm going to hit get started here. Again, normally when you take your knowledge check, it will give you a problem. If you can use a calculator, the calculator icon is up here. If you don't know how to solve the problem, you would choose I don't know. On your knowledge checks, if you even think, geez, I'm a little bit unsure of how to do the problem, you should say I don't know, because that's a sign that you haven't learned it well enough. So, and in fact, better yet, instead of saying I don't know, just put in a random answer, because if you look at your assessment report, if you put in I don't know, the problem doesn't show up. But on your assessment report, if you put in 9,999, it will at least give us the question that you missed. So instead of doing I don't know, just put in a random answer and submit the random answer. That's your better option, so that way you can see what problems you missed. On the pretest, it won't matter. On the pretest, just go ahead and hit I don't know, because that's what we're going to do on all of them. But right now, I'm going to hit Start Knowledge Check then. So again, I have this extra option down here because I'm the instructor that says I can skip it. You guys don't. So what we're going to do is just on every single question, say I don't know. So click I don't know. It's going to say, are you sure? Yep, we're sure we want to do that. So I'm going to hit got it. So I don't know, and keep going through. Don't worry about it. We just want to get to the actual Aleks program. Okay, so once you get done, it probably says you've done 0%. If it didn't, you did not click I don't know on every question, but it says 0%. So you have these slices on your pie, and each pie chart, depending on what class you're in, are divided up a little bit differently. But in Foundations of Math, you have whole numbers, topics, fractions, decimals, ratios, and percents. And if I do the slider, you're going to do some geometry topics, measurement topics, a little bit of data analysis and statistics, real numbers, which gets into having positive and negative numbers, and then a little teeny bit of algebra. There's only 6 algebra topics there, but you have 232 topics on your pie chart to learn. So you're of course going to probably start with the whole number section because that's the beginning. If you would click on a slice, it tells you right now we haven't mastered any or learned any, 71 remaining. As you work in this section, it's going to fill in with yellow to show you how far of that section you have completed. Right now, I'm just going to continue my path. So down on the bottom, I'm going to hit continue. Normally when you log on to Aleks, this is the screen that you see. This is your main page or your home page. There are 2 different views on your home page. One is the pie chart view, which looks like that pie chart we looked at before. I'm going to hit next up here. If I want more information on the slice, I click on the slice. Again, that first section is the whole number 1. The second one, what do I know about fractions and decimals, and around we go through that whole list. So you can have it in the pie chart view. You can also put it in the timeline view. Now, right now, no dates are probably set on the timeline. The timeline view is if you happen to have due date set, so that if you have to have the whole number section done by September 15th, it would show you that. So in basic math or foundations of math, probably just leave it over in the Aleks pie chart view. Whoops, I clicked a few things while I was talking. This section here tells you what the due date is. Right now, the due date is just set for the end of the class year. So Jane does not have any timeline set up of when you have to have things done by, other than you need to have all 232 topics done before the 6th of December, because finals week ends on the 6th of December, so obviously you'd have to be done by then. So that timeline view really is not going to give you much. It says get a quick picture of your week by week milestones. She doesn't have any set up for you. It tells you go ahead and start your path, but I'm going to click over here in the middle so that I can change it back, because you probably just want to leave it in the pie chart view instead of the timeline view. So just click in the middle of the screen, and instead of being on timeline, click on Aleks Pie, because the timeline's not going to show you much since there's no due dates set up. So normally when you go into Aleks, you're going to hit Start My Path. It says this is your learning page. Tells you an explanation before you start. I'm going to go ahead and hit Next here. And so this one, and then it says when you're ready to start, when you're ready to start, you hit Start down here. I'm going to hit the Got It just so I can go over this page. So here is a sample question. Because I said I don't know on everything, hopefully it's a pretty simple thing. It's telling you how to add 7 plus 6. So it says start with the bigger number. I'm going to start on 7 and I'm going to add 6 more. So I'm going to go 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And of course I end up at 13. Hopefully you already know that 7 plus 6 is 13. But if you don't, that's one way to do it, is by counting up. You start with the bigger number and then count up the smaller number until you get to your answer. Notice the calculator is not active on these problems because they expect you're not using a calculator. Message Center. Notice here if you go to the Message Center. The Message Center is a way to contact your instructor. Now it automatically defaults to Jane because she's the official instructor of the class, but I don't know when she's going to be back. So you would want to click on the 2 and, whoop, she does not have that set up, so you can email anybody else. Darn it. I'm going to hit cancel. We're going to just leave it on Mrs. Johnson. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to see if I can fix that. So here, if you go to that Message Center, notice on the bottom it says Attach Page, 1-digit addition with regrouping explanation. If you do that and send that email to, of course this one's going to go to Jane, you don't have to try to retype the question. It just attaches that page and you can say, oh, I need help with this problem, da 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 da. If you do want to type something in there, I'm not going to be in class today, da da da, you can send it from there. There are some options over on the side if you need to type in your fractions, square root, exponents. This is to do your exponents. There's even more if you hit the word algebra, all kinds of symbols if you did need to type a math problem in there. But most of the time you can just attach the page and say, hey, I don't get the second part of this, or whatever your question might be. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. And close this window because it's in an extra window, and it goes back here. So the Message Center is nice if you get farther in and you're working at home and you get stuck. You can always send an email to the instructor and say, hey, this is the problem I'm stuck on. It attaches it so you don't have to retype it, etc. This one down here is the print. In room 11, the printer is the 9040. So if I click on print, it brings up a new window, a nice one that you can print out. It should default to the 9040, and then if you need to print out that explanation, and sometimes there's an alternate explanation down on the bottom, you can have those. And you may want to put them in your binder as you go along, just in case later on you forget how you do those problems. Again, that's a new window, so I can just close that window, go back to my learning page. Up here on the top, this drop down, that gives you the menu of things to work on. If I hit that drop down arrow, notice right up here it says ready to learn. Now, it says you're ready to learn, or I'm ready to learn 7 topics because I said I don't know on everything. There are also filters. On the filter, if you're looking for a specific topic, because in your binder that Jane has, she's going to have them divided up by topics, you can start typing the name in there and see. If I start typing adding, notice how it narrows down the tabs to just the topic that has the word adding in it. I'm going to take that out, puts my topics back in there. You can also sort them in 2 ways. You can sort them by easiest, and if you put them in by easiest, it's just a random order that things are going to pop up in, or you can put them by pie slice. I like to put my topics by pie slice so that I do all the whole number stuff first, all the fraction stuff second, da 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 da. So my suggestion is to go over there and sort by pie slice instead of by easiest. It is totally up to you what order you do things in. Jane is going to have somewhat of an order that she's going to cover things in, but she's not nearly as structured as what I would do in my classes. I always make them put it by pie slice. Then once you select your selections here, to close that drop down, just click in the middle of the screen and that hides it. The other thing on this drop down, if I would decide I don't want to work on this first topic, I can go to the second topic or the third topic and pick whichever one of those topics that I want to do. Sometimes they are locked based on if there's something you need to do before you do that. Right now, none of them are locked. I could do any of those in whatever order I wanted to. I can also click the drop down, and instead of going just by ready to learn, I can switch chapters. But you can see that there's nothing that they're going to let me do in the fraction section yet because I need to learn the whole number section. So again, in my own personal opinion, it makes more sense to do all of the whole number stuff, then all the fraction stuff, then all the decimal stuff, and so forth. So things are coming up in a normal order. So I would just go ahead, leave it either on the ready to learn or just click the whole number section and just work on whole numbers, and then make sure you have your filter. Oh, it doesn't give me the option by pie slice anymore because I already changed the pie slice and just said, oh, I'm just going to do whole numbers. So I'm all right there. Alrighty. So that's that drop down up there. You can change which topic you're working on. If you get stuck on something, you can go to the next one until you can get help. I'm going to hide that so that opens it up or closes it, clicking that arrow. Normally then what you're going to do once you have a topic that you're going to work on is, this one says, write the number for 9,885. So 9,085. I'm going to hit start. It says this shows you how many correct answers you need in a row. It sort of does, but what it will do is if you get 2 right in a row, you get a double bonus. So the minimum number of problems, if you have 5 bars up here, is that you do 3 right in a row. If you miss any, it will take 1 bar off. But otherwise, it just adds 1 bar as you go, unless you get 2 right in a row. If you get a 2 right in a row, it gives you a bonus 1. And so if you do 3 right in a row, you're good. I'm going to hit next. Again, if you're not sure how to do the problem and you look at it and you say, ooh, I still don't get how to do that, there is the explanation that you can go to down here on the bottom. I'm just going to hit got it. Normally what you do is you say, okay, I'm going to write the number for 16,344. So 16,000, I'm going to put my comma, 344. And once I have that in there, I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to hit check. Alrighty, so you will notice now up on the top that I entered in the correct answer on Alex, and now that there's 1 green bar up here as far as how many you have to complete to get correctly. So I'm going to do the next one. It says write the number for 8,103. So 8,000, put my comma, 103. I'm going to check that. And notice here up on the top, because I got 2 right in a row, I got an extra credit 1. 2 in a row, double credit. It filled in 2 instead of just the 1 that you got for the first one. I'm going to go ahead and hit next on the bottom, and I'm going to do this one wrong on purpose. And I'm going to check it. So now when I do this one wrong, it tells me to try again. Notice it took 1 of my bars off of there. If I needed to, I could go to the explanation, or I can just try it again and say, oh yeah, I just accidentally hit that. 57,000. So 57,000, put my comma, 704, 704, and I recheck it. Now notice it only added 1 bar because I didn't do 2 right in a row. I just got 1 right in a row. So I go to the next one. And it says write the number for 4,234. So 4,000, comma, 234. I put that in there. I hit check. And notice now I have a double credit because I did 2 right in a row. Just before I hit next, so on this page you'll see the calculator's not active. It has the line through it. There is a dictionary if you needed to go to the dictionary for anything, but there's nothing here really to go to the dictionary for. Normally if there's words that are in the dictionary, they're in a different color that you can click on and go to the dictionary. But if you do go to the dictionary, it pops up and it's giving you a hint of maybe this is what you want to look for. Digit, if you don't know what digit is, and gives you some options here of things you might want to look for. It's open in a new window. There's a little X here. We can close that. And again, they have the option of emailing your instructor if you get stuck on something. I'm going to close that. Now, notice since I have all of these filled in and I hit next, it says, hey, you've learned that topic. So since I've learned that topic, I can continue my path. And it gives you the next topic to work on. Again, it says here, remember that you can use the arrow in case there's a different topic you want to do. I maybe skip this first one here on place value and I want to go back and do place value, so I'm going to click on that. But once I've clicked on which topic I want to do, I just hit got it and work from there. Now, another thing I want to point out, if you do a topic, it says you're done, but you still feel uncomfortable and you don't think you really know how to do them, you can go to the filter and instead of doing ready to learn, you can go to the review mode. If you go to the review mode, it's going to put the problems that either you got right on an assessment, but since I skipped all of them on the assessment, I didn't get any right, or that you did. So I could go back to that first topic and practice as many problems as I want if I don't feel comfortable that I know how to do them. So again, that's under the drop down. Normally you're in the ready to learn mode. If you go to the review, then you can review topics that you already have done your practice problems on. If we don't want to practice them, again, we've got to go back to ready to learn. There is another spot to change that, but for right now I'm just going to tell you right there. Here's the drop down. You can switch the filter. Ready to learn is your learning mode. Review is anything you might want to go back and practice. So you can switch those 2 modes if you need to do some extra practice on something. And again, if you know what the name of the topic is, you can just start typing the name in and it'll find it right away. Since I only had one topic there, it was easy for me to find. All right. So normally that's what you just do is you come to this screen, you work on your problems. Once you mastered it, you go to the next one, and probably you need to do about 10 topics or so a day in order to get through the course. That's on this page. We've talked about all these things. Again, there's the explanation page. If you're stuck on a topic, you can go back to that first explain page. It gives you a different sample problem to look at. And again, if you'd want to print it out, you could. Now your main menu. Up to the main menu, you have the home. If I go to home, that takes me to that first screen that I should probably see when I log in. Now that I've mastered a topic or learned a topic, it says I have 1 there. To master it, you have to get it right on the assessment. So now it says that you have 131 topics to do instead of, or 231 topics to do instead of 232 topics to do. So up there you can kind of keep track of your progress, and also notice now here on your pie, you see, oh, it filled in a little bit. I got part of that section done. If I click on that section, tells me I learned a topic. I got 70 more to learn to finish that section. Normally we hit continue your path, but we're looking at the menu. So when I go back to the main menu here, home, here's the other spot you can switch between your learning mode and your review mode. Remember on the drop down I said there was ready to learn, that's your learn mode. There's also the review. So instead of using the drop down, you could come over here, change it to review mode. If I do that, I only have that 1 topic in the review mode because I've only done 1 topic, but that's the other way to switch it as opposed to doing it over here on your filter, switching it back and forth here. So either on the filter or on the main menu, learning mode is your normal mode, review if you want to go back and practice extra problems. Assignments. What will show up under the assignments is when you have scheduled assessments. So on the second day of class, I'm going to have you do your actual pretest. That's going to be under the assignments. Worksheets. Worksheets, nothing you have to do. They're just extra paper pencil things that you could do. So if I go to worksheet, up here it says I want to generate a new Aleks worksheet. So I'm going to click on that. It's slowly loading. It just gives me some random practice problems because I was on the review. It's just giving me all the same review ones to do. If I close that and go back out and go back to worksheet again, it tells me I created a worksheet today. Oh, Jane doesn't have it set up so the answers are there. I'll fix that. I gotta make sure I'm back in the learning mode. I'm going to go back to the Learn mode, which I just did, and now go to a worksheet. And if I go to New Worksheet, what does it do? This should have Jeopardy music. Okay, nope, it just gave me review questions. So, nothing you have to do, and it looks like it's just giving you random stuff anyway, but it is there. Calendar, probably nothing's going to show up on the calendar because the only date Jane has in there is the last day of class. The Gradebook we don't really use. Basically, you're just going to have a guideline of, by the end of the first week, you should be 15% of the way done. By the end of the second week, you should be 24% of the way done, and so forth, so that you're keeping on pace to finish the pie chart by the end of the semester. That's the whole goal of this class, is that you finish the pie chart and you learn it well enough so that you're ready to take introductory algebra. If you don't finish that pie chart, you're probably not going to pass the class. So that's the whole goal. You got to put in as much time as you need to get that pie chart done. Now, some of you will go through faster and maybe we'll get it done in 45 hours. Some of you are going to take longer. An average student, once you get into algebra classes, take 90 hours to get through a class. So you just have to spend the number of hours working that it takes you to get through everything. If you only put in 10 hours of work, you're obviously not going to get done with your math. And so if you're wondering where you're at, here are the reports. I'm going to go down again on that main menu. If I go to reports, it has the pie chart, it has the timeline. We don't have the grade book. Has some activity you've been doing in the problems that you worked on, but the real report you want to look on is on the second page of the reports. You have this one that says progress history. Sometimes you have to scroll up or down. And the progress history is the one you want to look at. So each week, if Jane says you should be 15% of the way done, you want to add these two numbers together. Right now mine says 0 plus 0 because I haven't even done 1% of the work, because you have to do 2.5 topics to get 1% added on. But you want this to add up to the total that she says, okay, your progress should be 15% or whatever it might be. If I go down to the bottom of that progress history box and go to view all, I can also see how much time I've spent working on the class. And so an average student needs 3 to 6 hours a week working on the class. So you should have at least 3 hours in by the end of the first week. You might get done with the stuff at the beginning faster because it's easier, but then when you get to the end stuff, it might take you 6 hours to get through it. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can check your hours here, but the most important thing is your progress okay? Again, you go up to the main menu, you go to the reports, and if it doesn't jump you to the second page automatically, mine did, but you can toggle, see the dots on the bottom between those two pages. You want to be on the second page looking at that progress history report. That's going to tell you where you are in the class. Message center, again, just like that little envelope on the one page, if you go to the message center, you can send a message. Say you're not going to be in class, go to compose up at the top. You pick who you want to send it to. In this case, they only give you the choice of Mrs. Johnson or the customer support. But then you could send her a message and say, hey, my kid's sick, I can't come to class today. Very important you keep your instructor notified if you're going to be in class or not. And if you don't check in with your instructor, student services will probably be trying to contact you. So hopefully you have valid phone numbers at the school here. We want you all to be successful. To be successful, you need to be in class. But if something comes up, you're sick, have a doctor's appointment, make sure you either call or email your instructors and let them know where you're going to be. All right. And then, of course, there's the link to the dictionary again. And the dictionary has divided up by topics, and then you can find different terms that you're looking for. You can also do a search up here if you're looking for a certain term. I don't know why they want me to search for factoring, but that was what was in there. But it's in there. Now I have it just on the whole number one, so if I go back to the index, but again, you can search up here and find different topics. Most people don't go to the dictionary a whole lot, and if they are going to something in the dictionary, let me see if I can find something. There it is. See how this one is in blue? If you click on that, it takes you straight to the dictionary in case you want to know what a digit is. So if it's in blue, it's in the dictionary there. That is the gist of the Aleks program. The main thing you're going to do is go to that home page. You're going to continue your path. You want to finish the whole number section, then you want to go to the fraction section, then you want to go to the decimal section, and you work your way around the pie chart. Again, if I were you, I would hit continue my path. I already set mine to whole numbers, but instead of being on ready to learn, I would just click the whole number section and just do all the whole number stuff first, and I would make sure my filter is sorted. Oops, why didn't it let me sort that? Oh, because I already put it that way. If you have it on ready to learn, make sure your filter is sorted by pie slice. That's probably the best recommendation there. Alrighty, that is the Aleks program in a nutshell.